Hello my friends and welcome back to Moat Cottage. Today I have another blog video for you and I'll show you what's been happening here on the small homestead in the last month of summer. February is the hottest month of the year here at Moat Cottage. Approaching the end of summer can be draining with high temperatures and sleepless nights. It doesn't rain much at this time of year, if at all, so keeping the gardens alive during the summer heat can be a challenge. Some vegetables aren't looking too good. Harvesting is done both early and late in the day. There's summer pruning to be done too. Even though it's not the best time of year for taking cuttings, I still think it's worth the chance to make free plants that I want. It's easy to take the cuttings and I water my potted plants every day anyway, so it won't be extra work to keep them hydrated. The curry plant cuttings would have ended up in the compost anyway, and I really would like a few extra plants in the front garden because the ducks don't eat them and I use it in some of my cooking. Here in southern Australia, I have a winter vegetable garden and a summer vegetable garden. And now is the time to start sowing for my winter vegetable garden. About 70% of the winter vegetable garden is directly sown into the ground when I have room, and 30% gets started in punnets. They'll need to stay on the potting bench as it's partly shady here and only gets afternoon sun. If they went into the glasshouse, they'd cook in 5 minutes. I'm starting to plan where I'm going to plant my fig tree in the ground. There's not much room in the garden for it, but it's not going to be able to survive another summer in a pot. Transplanting doesn't get done until winter, but the soil will need to be prepared. Meanwhile, in the vegetable garden, I've got other decisions I need to make. Keep the summer garden a little bit longer, or prepare for the winter garden. The decisions. I pulled out the cucumbers and the baby squash. I'm still harvesting tomatoes, but they've got a few bugs in them and there's a lot of weeds underneath. I've got a little bit of silver beet left. The chilies and eggplant are still going well, and I've got basil and zucchinis. I've said that, did I? Chervil. There's a few more things happening around here, but I really need to make the decision as to whether I'm going to pull most of the things out and redesign the garden beds. They need to be redone. Usually I'm planting in one garden bed when it's empty, and then something else will become free, and then I'll plant the next thing in that garden bed. But I really want to change the design. It's a little bit tricky with these skinny paths either side here, and I think I need to make the path in the middle and make these garden beds wider. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. It's a big job and it's really hard to pull things out when they're still giving you food. Oh, I just don't know what to do. This is the challenge of a small garden, the space, and you having to reuse it all the time. And I really need to work some compost and some nutrients back into the soil too. So there's a bit that needs to be done. When I'm struggling with a decision to make, I always start with what I can do. And today, that's the infrastructure. I can pull out this wire and tie up my wire that's on the posts to make it a little bit stronger for my snow peas. I've been wondering why I haven't been getting my strawberries, and now I've found the culprit. I've started to remove the centre garden by transplanting some of the plants into the other garden beds on the sides and widening those side garden beds as well. I want to remove all the wood and stones out of this garden bed. It has all sorts of goodies underneath, like frogs, slugs and crickets. And while I want to coexist with the frogs and crickets in my vegetable garden because they're beneficial to help me with my garden pests, I want to hold the garden beds back a lot better. And I think bricks would be a better alternative. And I have some laying around on the property, so I'm going to use them to hold the garden beds back. Transplanting plants in the middle of summer when you've got high 30-degree temperatures is probably not the best idea, but it's worth a chance. I'm doing it late in the evening while the sun's not on the vegetable garden, and it will give the plants a chance overnight to settle in without the full sun on them. Taking time at the end of the day to assess the progress and look at still what needs to be done. Mulching is a priority. You never want to leave bare soil because weeds will just move in, and also it evaporates all the water that is going into the garden. And when it's this hot every day, you really need to mulch. Like I said earlier, I have a lot of pests on my tomato plants, and I could pull them all out. I have harvested a lot of tomatoes this year already, but I've decided to prune them right back and get rid of all the brown, dry, unhealthy parts of the plants. And there's plenty of time left for the season, and I'm hoping that I'll get tomatoes again, another batch. It's still 38 degrees Celsius and there's this big storm coming over. We're not meant to be getting any rain, but it's dry, hot, and it's been windy all day, and we've got lightning in this cloud. It's so beautiful, but it's also potentially so dangerous. I love the power of nature. It's always changing and it's so exciting. But weather like this can start fires that get out of control so quickly. Good morning. We only got 4 millimetres of rain with that storm last night, and luckily it didn't start any fires around here, at least anyway, that I know of. Before I can get out into the vegetable garden this morning, I need to get the broody ducks off the nest. I've got about 6 broody ducks that are wanting to stay on the nest all day instead of coming out and eating and foraging and doing what ducks do all day. They're not on eggs. They don't need to be sitting, especially when it's so hot. And the sooner you break that cycle of them being broody, the better. Otherwise, it's a battle. So you need to get them off the nest every day until you break that cycle. And the sooner you start, the quicker it will be to get them off the nest. And then after that, I need to fix some fences from all the wind damage from the storm last night. My kiwi plant females are not on the best, most solid fence, but it's going to have to do for now. February is our hottest month of the year, so I can only work early in the morning or late in the evening. I realised I needed bigger bricks to retain the walls of my soil in the vegetable garden, and I thought I'd get some pavers for safety as well while I was at it. My vegetable garden gives me so much, so it's worth investing in a bit more infrastructure while I'm at this project. I've filled up the bricks with some soil to plant in there as well. The vegetable garden project is done and I love it. I can take these with me if I move. It's not concreted in or anything, so it's something that's good for a rental garden. It's practical, it's safer to walk up the path. I'm not going to slip in the mud. It's protected from weeds because it's mulched. It'll hold the moisture in a lot more. The tomato plants have been pruned back, so we should get another round of tomatoes in the autumn. And hopefully the pests won't get them because they're growing back a lot stronger and healthier than they were from the hot summer conditions that we had where they were really struggling. It was a compromise. I didn't have to pull out the whole summer garden as early as the start of the project, which was good because I really was struggling with that decision, as you know. So I still have my summer garden and I've started my winter garden planting out as well. So we're in that transitional phase and it's really exciting. And the Besser blocks are perfect for holding up my high vegetable garden beds, which have grown over the years that I've been gardening because I'm always adding to them all the time. So this was initially a flat garden and I just started my garden in the ground. And over the years it's built up and now obviously it's a lot higher over all those years. And now it's contained as well. So it's just, I'm really happy with it. And the hardest decision was starting to pull out some of the plants and basically just making the decision. But because I took one step at a time, it sort of built from there and grew and then went even further than I even thought I would be going. And now for the tour. This is the before and this is the after, with the path down the middle and wider garden beds. I actually didn't lose any real estate, even though it looks like there's a huge path in the middle. Under my sunflowers I've sown spring onions. I've still got a zucchini plant. We've got potatoes. All my tomatoes, which are starting to take off again. Up the back, I've started my winter garden bed with turnips that have been sown directly into the ground. And behind them on the fence, I've got snow peas. There's basil, the eggplants along the back of the fence, the occasional tomato plant that's self-seeded, the transplanted chives. The eggplants are starting to fruit. They take a long time to grow, but they're starting, and that's the main thing. Next to them we have chilies, and I have numerous varieties of chilies. I always grow some in the vegetable garden and some in pots, so I have them in different places around the whole garden. And I'll be able to make more pickled chilies and dehydrate chilies all through the autumn. Some of the ones at the front were the ones that I transplanted, so we'll see how they go. There's more chives, lovage, silver beet, lemon balm, basil going to seed, and more tomato plants. I've been having to water my winter seedlings every single day, and on the extra hot days, twice a day. And even then, a few of the cells did dry out and I lost a couple of plants. But so far, the perpetual spinach, giant noble spinach, and the silver beet have all come up, along with the purple cauliflower. I've had the occasional other seed pop up as well. However, it's going to be a little bit cooler on the weekend, so I'm going to re-sow these cells, and hopefully the cooler weather will help the winter vegetable seeds kick off. The bricks and rocks from the vegetable garden are going to be made use of in other parts of the garden. The kumquat tree just had a ring of rocks and now it's filled completely with rocks, so there's no exposed dirt and the dogs can't get in there and dig it up. I know a lot of you will be starting to plant out your vegetable gardens for the next season, whether that is your whole growing season for your summer or whether you're growing for the winter, or if you're in the tropics and that's your growing season as well. So it's pretty much, my winter is a growing season for pretty much a lot of people in the world. Not everybody, but most people are actually growing vegetables at this time of year, or starting them out at this time of year. Thanks for spending time here at Moat Cottage with me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.